Ariel Helwani, an MMA reporter, is by far the most well-known journalist in the area. He may be better known than some fighters, and he has used his success in mixed martial arts to start a podcast and cover boxing, WWE, and basketball. But in 2016, the award-winning journalist was told he couldn't cover the UFC in person because he was no longer welcome there.
Look, I wanted to talk to you, and obviously many others in our profession wanted to talk to you because it's a rarity that a league.
And we went to the back. Dana was standing there. He was visibly upset, and he said, "Get out of here. You're done. Your credentials are gone. You're not welcome here ever again."
He was kicked out of UFC 199 by UFC President Dana White and the top people in the company. After the event, Helwani was banned for life. However, the ban was lifted after fans complained. Helwani still doesn't go to UFC events these days, though. Even so, why was he kicked out in the first place? To fully understand Helwani's background with the UFC, one must travel all the way back to the year 2016. The well-known mixed martial arts journalist agreed to work for Fox Sports, which at the time served as the broadcaster for the UFC. Helwani enjoyed a positive working relationship with the UFC, Dana White, and Fox at the time. However, this would soon change. Helwani continued to do what he was accustomed to doing for the MMA Hour, which was to speak with mixed martial arts MMA competitors from all over the world. It was the fighters' negative comments about the UFC and interviews that ultimately led to his departure from the organization. At the beginning of 2016, Helwani was terminated from his position as a result of his conversation with Rory McDonald regarding the possibility of leaving the UFC.
Rory, I got a lot to ask you about, but what's going on with the hair? Are we sticking with this or what?
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
What is
I'm sure I'll change it eventually again.
the symbolism here?
I feel very confident.
You might find it hard to believe, but Ariel Helwani and Dana White used to get along in the past. They became good friends over the course of their lives. A significant number of interviews between the reporter and the UFC president were conducted. Helwani expressed his gratitude to White for providing him with access over the years, despite the fact that Fox had fired him. But things went from bad to worse between them very quickly. In 2016, White had a heated argument with Helwani after the latter published articles discussing topics such as fighter pay and athletes leaving the UFC.
The answer to is, how do you know that?
Because that's what the experts are saying. The experts are telling us that's what they do. How else would I know? The experts are telling us.
And I don't expect you to know, but who are the experts?
Ask Nowitzki. Call Nowitzki and set up an appointment to have an interview with him. He'll tell you.
By June of 2016, they had completely severed communication with one another. It is difficult to say how big of a deal UFC 200 was supposed to be for the promotion. The Ultimate Fighting Championship made every effort to include as many fighters as possible on the card. It was originally planned for the rematch between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz II to be the night's main event. However, this was quickly altered. After that, the UFC came to the conclusion that the main event would be Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier II. However, they did not want the card to end there. They began negotiating an unusual cross-promotional deal in order to secure Brock Lesnar, a former holder of the UFC Heavyweight Championship, as a participant in the event so that he could fight. Michael Bisping's victory over Luke Rockhold served as the night's main event at UFC 199. In addition to this, it is famous for being the event that announced Brock Lesnar would be returning for UFC 200.
My health is behind me. I'm sitting here at UFC 200 soaking it all in. I don't know. I feel great. It's good to be here. It's good to be back.
They presented a fantastic trailer for UFC 200, and at the very end, Lesnar made an announcement that stunned UFC fans. It appears that this was the intended course of events. Fans were already aware of Lesnar's comeback because Helwani shared the news with them right before UFC 199 went live and informed them that he was returning. After the move, the UFC immediately and forcefully responded with a counterattack. Esther Lin and Casey Layden, both of whom work for MMA Fighting, were in the cage with Ariel Helwani prior to being ejected from UFC 199. Esther Lin and Casey Layden were ejected from the event. Helwani claims that Dana White let him out of the arena, pushed him around, and took his credentials after calling him backstage. After that, the company informed him that he would never be allowed to work for them again. Fans and other fighters gave the move a lot of negative feedback. On Twitter, Jon Jones, Daniel Cormier, and Chris Weidman all defended him. Dana White, though, said that Helwani would be banned as long as he's there. Once again, Dana White's fans learned not to trust him. 2 days after UFC 199 was banned, the UFC officially lifted the ban and gave all MMA fighting reporters, including Helwani, credentials to get into events. The UFC explained why they banned him on the same day they unbanned him. They thought that it was because Helwani's reporting went beyond what is usually done in journalism. Even though the ban was lifted, Helwani didn't go to very many events after what happened. Since the UFC is known for not being forgiving, it makes sense that they still hate Helwani. Dana White is known for criticizing Helwani whenever he can, and he has been kicked out of events like Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, even though it was made by Showtime. Helwani, for his part, has talked in detail about how UFC interference made his time at ESPN a disaster. Before the UFC was with ESPN, the company hired him, but after they merged, he lost many opportunities. He said he wasn't even allowed to be in the same building as Dana White, which seems extreme. Not only that, the Liverpool man told UFC President Dana White about his problems with Helwani on an episode of Pimblett's own podcast.
Know what I mean? Like Ariel Helwani in particular, like he loves earning money off fighters. Yeah. Like, and now he's just a biased content creator. Yeah. Know what I mean? 100%. And he hates on you, hates on the UFC, even hates on me now.
Pimblett told Helwani that his main goal is to make money, and he said that he should pay fighters for the interviews he does with them. I don't like any of these reporters, especially the ones who make money off of us. Ariel Helwani in particular loves making money off of fighters.
I don't make money off of the YouTube channel. I don't make money off of any of these interviews. I have a contract.
He's been fired from every good job he's ever had, and now all he does is make biased content, Pimblett said. He uses fighters to get clicks and make money, and then he has the nerve to talk about the UFC and you, saying that they don't pay the fighters enough. Get your money ready, Ariel. Start paying people for these interviews that make you thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. I know that now because YouTube helps me make money, so I can tell how much he makes from YouTube. You're doing it for exposure? No, you're not. You're doing it to put money in your pocket, Ariel, you little rodent.
Doing it to put money in your pocket, Ariel, you little rodent.
White then joined in and insulted Helwani, which didn't come as a surprise since their relationship has been tense for years.
I hear nothing about him. I see nothing about him. I literally don't even know that guy exists unless somebody brings him up to me. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and you're exactly right. He's a piece of...
Helwani responded to Pimblett's rant on an episode of the MMA Hour.
Now let's get to New York. This is where everything went sideways. And this is where I think it's important to really bring out the receipts. Because what he just said right there is an absolute bold-faced lie. A 1,000% lie. What you just heard right there was a lie.
He played a voice message from the Liverpool man in which the UFC fighter asks to be interviewed.
Yo, the big fella. What's going down, Ariel? Just thought I'd let you know, lad, if you wanted to say hi or do anything with a man, I'll be in NYC in November. I think I'm going to be there from the 3rd to the 6th. And then I'll be coming back again on the 17th or the 18th. And then be coming back to Liverpool on the 23rd. So I'm about in New York, 2 separate occasions.
Pimblett then told Helwani that if he wants to set up an interview, he should talk to his manager, Graham Boylan. Helwani did this, and he was told he would have to pay the UFC fighter to appear on his show. Helwani said that it was the first time in his career as an MMA journalist that he was asked to pay for an interview, which he thought was insulting. He also made it clear that Pimblett had reached out to him first. He also answered Pimblett's claim that he makes money from all of his interviews, which Helwani denied by saying that he has a contract with a fixed salary.
I sit here, whether I'm talking on the nose, this stuff, anything else, it's the same contract. I'm doing my job.